Hello everyone, thank you for joining us in this edition of The Inside. I am Bable Jonathan. In this edition of the program, we are zooming in on one of the communities that have suffered the adverse and devastating consequences of the decade-old Anglophone problem and the Anglophone crisis that's been there for over 10 years now. In the northwest and southwest regions of the country, we are looking at the effect of other internal problems on the community of Bangolan in the Ngoketunja division of the northwest region of the country. We are looking at peace efforts within the community, out of the community, across the nation. And we are also looking at the role of traditional authorities in the socio-political life of the nation. Meet our guest in some few seconds. Right, our guest today is His Royal Majesty Senator Fon CHAFAH Issac. He is a member of Cameroon's Upper House of Parliament, member of the Bureau of the Senate, Fon of Bangolan in Ngoketunja Division, Northwest Region of Cameroon, Secretary General of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Cameroon, and he is a super-scale magistrate by profession. Your Royal Majesty, welcome to the program.
Mr. Babila, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to chat with you today.
It's equally a pleasure to have you speak with us in this edition of The Inside. How is Bangolan today?
Well, to begin with, Bangolan is one of the 13 villages in Ngoketunja division, precisely in Babisi subdivision. And Bangolan, as you have rightly said, is a community that has suffered some challenges, I think, prior to the Anglophone crisis. And that has affected the development of the village, the peace of the village, and of course, the culture of the village.
Right. So, let's get to know a little more about Bangolan and the cultural, the rich cultural heritage of the Bangolan people.
The Bangolan people, where we have settled right now, we are at the border between the northwest and the western region. The neighboring village or subdivision to us is called Bangolan in the Nous division. Bangolan because Bangolan people in the old days, hundreds of years ago, before they settled where they are today, they first crossed over in the Nous division, settled where you have Bangolan. They had conflicts with the Bamu, and as a result of that conflict, they returned back to where they are today. And before then, they had had other conflicts that caused them to move around the region. But the present site was founded by the founding father of Bangolan. So we have lived in this village and this community for close to 250, 300 years. And we have had a succession of 22 traditional rulers within time. And you would like to know that our Fon, when you are set to the throne, you are either called a CHAFAH or a Mbipefa. CHAFAH is the founding Fon of the village. So when a new Fon takes over, for instance, my father was called Mbipefa. And when I took over, I was given the name CHAFAH. Whoever will take over from me will bear the name Mbipefa. And I'm CHAFAH the 11th, which means there were 10 CHAFAHs before me. And my late father was Mbipefa the 10th, which means before him there were 9 Mbipefas. So that's how our culture is, and our succession is very simple, father to son. That's our succession pattern. which means when a Fon is still alive, he has many children. He looks amongst his children, will choose one, and then he may write a will. He may confide in other traditional rulers or the authorities of the area that after me, this is who will take over. And when the moment arrives, consultations are done. Consultations are done with the ranks of the king makers. They are consulted. If they are in accord with the choice of the late Fon, then whoever he has designated will be enthroned, initiated and enthroned as Fon. So, my father passed away in 1982, in March 1982. And at that time, I was a student in St. Augustine's College, precisely in Form 2. And I was barely 15 years old at the time. And he was in the hospital in Shisong, in Banso. And I was the only prince that saw him and even saw him up to the moment he passed away. I was the only prince. So when he passed away, I was not even informed. I went back to school. So the next day, the authorities of the school, St. Augustine's, came to me and said, there is an emergency in the village. You have to go to the village now. We are taking you to the village. I said, but could it be my father has passed away? Or what? They say, no. That emergency is that they want to evacuate him. And you are likely going to accompany him on that trip. So that's how I was blindfolded. I arrived at the village. I saw the situation. Everybody, all my brothers had already gone to the village. So I went and sat with my late mother. I did not spend up to 30 minutes when the king makers came and asked me, because the corpse of my father was still there. They came and took me, brought me in and said, okay, see your father for the last time so that we bury him. When I went in there, I thought, since I've never witnessed the passing away of a Fon, I thought my other brothers had done the same ritual and it was my turn since I came late. I didn't know that was the process of making me Fon. So I saw him. He was taken away, buried. I wanted to go back to my mother's house. The kingmaker said, no, you have to wait again. Then after a while, they came and started undressing me. I said, but what is happening? At that point, they had not told me you would be Fon. But that was the process. I didn't know. So I was undressed. The attire I wore, they kept it aside, dressed me with some traditional stuff. At that point, I still didn't know I was being made Fon. The process went on that day, and I slept in the palace where I could have suspected something was fishy. They took me to the inner sanctum of the palace where princes don't go. That was my first time to go down there. When I went down there, I stayed there. The next day, the Sultan of Fumban at the time, Seedu Jimulu, the Sultan before the one who just passed away, he arrived the village and they brought him where I was sitting. When I saw him, I jumped up to pay allegiance to a Fon and to greet him the way princes usually greet Fons. So he came and embraced me instead. So I was confused. It was at that point the Sultan discovered that they had not yet told me that I was being made Fon. And it was at that point that I discovered that this thing like this could be, I am being initiated onto the throne. So I burst into tears. Sultan said, no, now you can shake my hands. I said, why am I? He said, you are now my colleague. I burst into tears. I said, no, I cannot. I don't want it. He was embarrassed. So he removed a piece of paper from his bag and said, this is the will that your father gave about. He asked me, are you called Isaac Bunka? And so I said, yes. Are you in St. Augustine's College? I said, yes. He said, then you are the one. I was coming to confirm. I said, okay. He now reminded me, do you remember 2 years ago when you visited me in Fumban with your late father, that was the day he showed you to me, that you will be his successor. And I quite remember that really happened. We visited him. Then the duo of Ndop brought another will, they compared. A notable in the village brought a will, they compared. Some notables came and made verbal testimonies. Mr. Babila, that was the moment I knew I was being made fun. And you know, Bamlike people do their lakam, but we do our own in a different way.
So, Your Royal Majesty, take us through the rest of the process. I think this is very important because there are questions that has been raised by some of your subjects about your chieftaincy. Yes, take us through the rest of the process.
I take you through the rest of the process. Okay. As I'm telling you,
to your coronation. My
coronation went in our tradition from what I went through. And let me remind you, Mr. Babila, 80% of my notables today who are creating problems in the village were not notables at the time. I have the picture of my coronation, the day I was taken out and shown to the population as the new Fon of Bangolan. 22 notables escorted me out. I looked at the picture. I am the only one surviving on that picture. Which means that 80% of my young notables did not even witness. Some were not even born when I was made fun. I'm talking of 43 years ago. So any notable who is less than 43 years did not witness my enthronement. So I was in Lakam for a period of time. I think it was 2 weeks. A day now was met. In our tradition, when they make you fun, you don't go to Ngumba that same day. No. There's a forest below the palace. I was sleeping on the ground in that forest for 2 weeks. In the process, all the traditional notables were asked to come, and I don't know, I was a child, so I didn't know what was happening. They said, when they put a new phone, you have to come and give your powers to him. You come, whatever powers you have, give him. Give him. A lot of rituals were done on me that I cannot explain. Is today I'm understanding quite a bit of those rituals. They did a lot, and then the final day when I was to be shown to the population, the palace was packed full. They brought me out. I was still young and naive. I was presented to the population. And there is a test in my fondom when they put a new font to see if you are really the rightful person chosen by the ancestors, accepted by the ancestors or not. That process is they take a calabash, a mud calabash, fill it right to the brim with palm oil, and then give you to hold it, move around the whole palace yard, and a notable is having a cloth below so that if there is a drop, it will be seen on that cloth. You move around, and then if you come back and there is no single drop, they'll start firing gun and celebrate that this is the fun. I went through that process. There was no single drop of oil. The celebration exploded. I did all that. All the rituals to make a fun, I did.
So, Your Majesty, why are there questions on your chieftaincy? Why are some of your subjects saying that you're not the rightful person to take over the throne?
Well, when they say I'm not the rightful person, Mr. Babila, can you be the wrong person and sit on a throne for 43 years and nothing happens to you? You are still alive. It's impossible. In our tradition, let me just give you a simple example. Those who are saying it in 2016 gathered and said I was being replaced by my stepbrother. And they effectively took that my stepbrother straight to the Ngumba. And our tradition is very strong and simple. Two princes cannot see the Ngumba. at the same time. In the reign of any Fon, only one prince sees the Ngumba, and that one prince is the Fon, the one that they have chosen as Fon. Okay, those who are saying it took my stepbrother, who all along had been ambitious to be Fon, and it did not work. So they took him to Ngumba. The rest of the story you know. Did he survive? He died. He died, I think, after... He stayed in Ngumba only one night. Came out. Since he came out in Ngumba, he never saw Bangolan again till he died. He died, and he was not sick. He died mysteriously. That is our tradition. It's very clear, when two princes see Ngumba, the one that is not the rightful one must die. And it happened. So, what do they want?
Your Majesty, when is the last time you went to the village?
My absence from the village is not due to internal conflict. First, you would like to know that my palace was burned down by the same elite who are fighting me. That is the first in the region. Anglophone crisis has affected almost every village in the northwest. There are many. There's no single Fon in Itonja who is in his palace. But the palaces are there. They didn't burn their palaces. But these my own people came and burned their palace, burned hundreds of years of history. From the moment they burned the palace, I have not gone to the village, not because of the crisis, but if I were to go today, do I go and beg their houses to live in or to receive people in? No, the palace was burned. So I don't think any reasonable person will expect me to go to the village now where the palace has been destroyed by the same people who thought they were trying to restore the culture of the place.
But the people, the subjects, they feel abandoned by their traditional leader.
I am feeling it lately because initially I just said, okay, with Anglophone crisis, because some of them tried to exploit the Anglophone crisis to settle personal scores. In fact, the palace was not only burned by Bangolan people, they got secessionist fighters to accompany them to burn the palace. The burning took place in a fierce gun battle. So, they will feel abandoned because when the Fon is not there to work with the people, they are not protected. But I can tell you, I feel for my people, and I feel their pains. Many of them have been coming to me. I have been helping a good number of them. I have taken care of many of them, and I have listened to their cries. I have listened to their cries. And I can boastfully tell you that they were manipulated by a few overzealous, ambitious young people led by a retired colonel. There is a retired colonel in my village, retired colonel, who is the brain of all what is happening, the destruction of my village. He is somebody who full of lies. This retired colonel was not a notable at the time I became Fon. He's my age mate. We are of the same age. But Mr. Babila, his father died. His father was my griot. When we say griot, dan chinda that, and it means when the Fon is coming out. That is the role his father was playing in my life. He knows, the whole village knows. When he died, being a polygamist, his succession did not come from the house of the colonel. So the colonel was very frustrated and was making life difficult for the successor. Being a peaceful man that I think I am, I looked at the situation. I said, okay, since I have the powers to honor any of my children, and this man is a whole colonel, let me give him a small title that will permit him turn his eyes on the chair of his father that did not go to him. I brought him to the palace, met him, gave him a title, which is not a title from his family background, his palace title. I met him, Nji, Noningwe. My intention was very simple. for peace to reign in their compound. I gave him that title. But can you imagine that is this same fellow who spearheaded the destruction of my village, and he's still doing it. Good example, 2 days ago, he has created a forum. In that forum, he heard I have called a development meeting, a meeting to unite my people in Obala. He made an audio which I have in my possession, asking young people in Bangolan to rise and start blocking routes and start destroying public structures in Bangolan so that presidential elections can be frustrated. These are his words. I have the audio of me. And let me tell you, if this kind of audio, I'm a magistrate, this is a very grievous issue. If it falls into the hands of the right authorities, they catch him, jail him. People say Fon CHAFAH had jailed a retired colonel. No. I have the audio. If you knew my dad, I'll play it to you after this and you listen to. So I don't abandon my people.
So Your Majesty, you must have seen a video of some of your subjects carrying out some rituals, saying that we don't have a fund, we are looking for a fund for Bangolan. How did you feel when you saw that video?
Those fellows are misguided individuals.
What's the value of that?
We know them. We know those fellows. I've given them time to repent because they have gone too far to hold a village hostage for years. They have stifled the development of the village. They have brought disorder. There is hatred, animosity in the village. And they say they don't have a fund. Did they not put a fund? Where did the fund go to? They put a fund that did not survive, no? So what are they talking about?
Another video emerged recently saying that, suggesting that some of your subjects took to the streets, demanding for a fund.
Oh, that they won their fund back.
Is it an event that happened recently, or?
That video you are talking about is manipulation. That is the video that was done 9 years ago when the crisis in my village started.
Before we go further, we want to take our viewers to the newsstands, and we're looking at what the newspapers reported this week. This is the press review. We'll be right back in a moment. The Post reports that education stakeholders in the Northwest region have been pleading with amber fighters to allow pupils and students who are future leaders to study in a peaceful environment. The education stakeholders argue that without the necessary certificate, an entire generation could lack future job opportunities, allowing others to dominate them. Cameroon Tribune reports security measures taken by the Minister Delegate at the Presidency in charge of Defense, Joseph Bettiya Sommer, and other government institutions to ensure a hitch-free back-to-school and presidential election. And the Dawn tells its readers that the launching of a back-to-school campaign in the Meme Division was successful. The Guardian Post October poll: CPDM regime blindfolding citizens with emergency road repairs. Circulation grounded in parts of Yaoundé and Douala. Business owners cry huge losses. According to the paper, government has awoken from slumber, raising to patch the terrible road networks of the country's most important cities of Yaoundé and Douala, resulting in losses for citizens and businesses. And about the October 12th presidential election, the Horizon highlights calls for a consensus opposition candidate to unseat the Biya regime, with one of the candidates, Issa Mabakari, saying underground moves are still underway. Another issue of the Guardian Post exclaims, UNDP meeting in Limbe splits administration. Division officer authorizes, then orders police to disrupt meeting, but senior division officer overturns decision. And the Herald Tribune puts forth a letter written by Issa Chiruma Bakari, in which the paper says he weeps for the northern region's underdevelopment challenges. Municipal updates, book launch, PM's advisor Mboto Edimo extols Bia's unique qualities. The paper feeds its readers with information about a book highlighting President Paul Bia's unique qualities. The Guardian Post, Cameroon after October 12 poll, young position for post of vice president. According to the Guardian Post, while the other candidates are unable to form an alliance but yet talking tough about sweeping reforms if they are voted, President Paul Biya and his collaborators are pictured not just working about attaining victory, but also the putting in place of the post of vice president, with former Prime Minister Philemon Yang well placed for that position. You're welcome back. We are still with our guest, His Royal Majesty Senator Fon CHAFAH Issac, member of Cameroon's Upper House of Parliament, member of the Bureau of the Senate Fon of Bangolan in the Ngaukutunja Division Northwest Region of Cameroon, Secretary General of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Cameroon, and a super scale magistrate by profession. Your Majesty, how much has been damaged in your community by the close to a decade-long Anglophone crisis?
The development of my village. In fact, I was one of those leading figures that spearheaded the development of Bangolan. At that time, I was not even a senator. I was just a magistrate working. And I had developed some close relationship with some embassies in Cameroon. The British High Commission, for example, and the American Embassy. What did I used to do? I used to go take advantage of my closeness to the British High Commission, bring in development projects in Bangolan. There was a time Bangolan-Babisi Road was almost impassable. I drew up a project when I met the British High Commission, and they disbursed funding for the rehabilitation of that road. That was done. The Baptist Health Center in Bangolan was almost completely falling down. I went and met the French ambassador at the time, and I drew up a project for a modern ward to be constructed there. It was granted. I personally supervised the project. That ward is still there. It's the best ward in the hospital in Bangolan. I brought it. The village development hall at one time was crumbling. I went to the American Embassy. The ambassador gave some grants. That hall was rehabilitated. If I begin to name some of the things I did, which these fellows have destroyed completely, for 9 years now, if you ask them, how far have you gone with Bangolan? It's zero. Nothing. Nothing concrete has been done again in the village. Education-wise, children don't go to school because most of them buy this secessionist idea that schools should be boycotted. So they have closed down schools in the village. Most of the school, the government school, that was the main one in Bangolan, had been closed down since the crisis. All the major educational institutions in Bangolan have been closed down. Bangolan is a very big production basin of rice for the UNVDA. Rice cultivation in Bangolan is one of their main cash crops. But if I tell you since the crisis, it's not been of help to any Bangolan man. When I look at images from the village, I weep, because you will see a young man, barely 20 years old, looking like a 40 years old man. Some are in drugs. They take drugs. Many are drops out. Some of the children who don't go to school, some are pregnant, premature pregnancy. Some are desperate. They go for early marriages and so on and so forth. So the Bangolan that I toiled with my people to build is not what this young generation of notables have. What they have done to the village is unimaginable.
What do you say to those who link all of what you're saying now to the absence of their phone?
Well, I told
that if the phone were
you earlier,
different.
Mr. Babila, today I'm a senator, and I want to tell you that those who don't believe that power comes from God, they are deceiving themselves. Every leader has his roots from God. Those who tell you that is not true. It is this crisis that has opened my eyes to know that, frankly speaking, God really exists, because the age at which I became Fon, if I were doing business, you would have said I bought it. No, I didn't buy it. So it was at the heart of the crisis in 2018 that I was appointed senator. And what my detractors were doing in Bangolan to attract attention against me, to portray me as a bad man, they wrote tons of things, negative things about me. I even came to my job site to ask my director, Gerard, that I should be dismissed. I saw it, I laughed. They wrote to the presidency that I should be dismissed. I laughed. They went all over. So their target was not only whatever they were telling people. It's a very jealous society. Their target was to destroy me as an individual. But the God that I serve is a living God. He has stood by me. If God was not by me, I would still not be alive. And I can even say stronger. I'm stronger now than I was before. So my tears are very simple. As senator, I have more openings now to develop my village than before. Before, I did not have the connections that I have today. But of the insecurity, to develop a village, the precondition is security. There must, and security comes when there is peace. If there is peace, security, development follows. So if you look at all this brought together, it's difficult. And I'll take you to this point of the meeting in Obala. It is as a result of 9 years of no development, no movement, no peace, that I have decided to convene an inclusive meeting in Obala. Nobody is excluded. This meeting is to settle our differences, map a way forward, come out with a development structure that will meet the aspirations of the people of Bangolan. The old structure that we had long gone moribund because of the crisis. So we want to revamp it and then start taking the village forward. Of course, precondition to all that is forgiveness. People have wronged me, and I have personally wronged people. I have said it publicly, and I've said it time and again, that I am not God. I'm not perfect. If anything I've done that offended some group of people or individuals, they should forgive me. I'm not God. Because I have forgiven them. If I had not forgiven them, I would not still be thinking about bringing them together for the development of the village. It's forgiveness. That's the foundation.
What about this meeting, Your Majesty? What seems to sound not very correct in the ears of some of your subjects is holding a meeting of the people of Bangolan out of the village, far away from the village.
I will explain to you. It's very simple. You are from Bali, isn't it? Yes. Have I not seen Bali people hold their meetings, development meetings in Douala? The Fon of Bali, you are Fon. He lives in Yaoundé. Does that stop Bali developing? No.
And the people also think that is not correct, that it should have taken
Let me tell you,
within the village.
This meeting cannot hold now in the village for one simple reason. I want everybody to be free to attend. There is the Anglophone crisis. We know the insecurity. I don't want to expose people's lives. If I go to the village, I will go protected by the army. But can I protect every single subject of mine who will come to the meeting? I have my elite who are of the armed forces. I have some of them who are dual civil servants. And you know that these category of persons are not welcome in our area. When they come, they are a soft target for the secessionists. You want me to expose my subjects to danger? I have chosen Obala because it is a neutral ground where everybody will be free to attend. The Duke of Babisi took part, and of course our parliamentarian, Honorable Njingo Musa. You saw him. And I did not want to invite public personalities from out of my village to come and fill the place, because if I did that, my detractors, since they are so desperate, they will say, whoa, he went and borrowed people from other places to come to Obala. I want that the meeting in Obala is for Bangolan people. And Bangolan people, everybody you see there is from Bangolan. Some have come from the village. They have come from all over. And in Obala, we are not only putting in place a development structure. I have prepared decisions to appoint my representatives in various cities in Cameroon. Something that I have not done for a long time. I am doing that. So all those appointed will be installed and shown to the local administration of where they are in the days ahead.
So, Your Majesty, after this meeting, are you thinking about going to rebuild your palace and then, of course, fast-tracking the process of development of Bangolan in the nearest future?
I can guarantee you that after this meeting, the reconstruction of the Bangolan Palace is my priority. And I am sure God allows certain things to happen for a purpose. I have the feeling that the palace we had, God wants a better, bigger palace for Bangolan people than the one that we shall build. We shall build a palace. It shall be done. That one I'm not thinking, it will be done. We are working on that already. But the only thing that will not be able to get back is all the historical artifacts that were destroyed in the fire. We'll never have them back. So we'll find ourselves with a modern palace. Maybe most probably like the one you see here in Yaoundé. We'll find ourselves with a palace like that. And my people are mobilized to rebuild their village. No obstacle will stop us. A few individuals, let me tell you, a few individuals are the ones trying to hold the village hostage because they have been using this confusion to extort money from my people. They impose collections. People contribute money tirelessly. They take no account is rendered. No account, whatever is rendered to whosoever. And some of these people who don't want peace to return is because they have certain skeletons in their cupboard that when peace comes, they'll have to render account. Some of these young men who are fighting, destroying the village, have created a cooperative bank called Bangolan. Poor Bangolan people pumped their money inside. They embezzled it. The bank crumbled. There is an elite of my court registrar called C. Edumiyi. He was the one coordinating that bank. It crumbled. Crumbled at the time this crisis was just starting. So they have not returned poor people's money up till date. And for a man and a group like that, they are afraid of peace, because if peace comes, the villagers will want back their money. And that is a nightmare to me.
I wouldn't want us to continue with the many allegations. You are a magistrate, and you certainly know that until a competent court establishes the guilt of someone, We as journalists, we cannot establish that. And so, and the people you're mentioning, the former colonel and the rest, they're not here to respond to that.
Well, Mr. Babila, let me tell you one thing. As a magistrate, when I say things that I can prove. For instance, I told you that the colonel has called for insurrection against the election. I'm not inventing it. I have an audio of him saying it. Can he refuse that he did not say it? I have it. A bank, a cooperative bank was created. Where is the bank? It has crumbled. Those people who created, have they ever rendered account to those who invested in that bank? No.
Are you using the administration to maintain yourself in power, in leadership, in your community?
Mr. Babila, I'm a jurist. Anything I do must align with the laws of the land. Bangolan is not an independent country. Bangolan is in a village in Cameroon. And there are laws regulating the relationship between people in Cameroon. There are laws regulating every structure or any organization in Cameroon. 1977 law on chieftaincy is very clear on that. 1977 law says funds are categorized. They are auxiliaries of the administration. When a fund passes away, consultations are done. A new fund is presented to the administration for, I don't know what term to use, but he is presented. It's not the administration that chooses the fund. The fund is chosen by the people following their own custom and presented to the administration. So traditional rulers are auxiliaries of the administration. And once a fund is designated, first class traditional rulers are designated by a decision of the Prime Minister. Second class are designated by a decision of the Minister of Territorial Administration. And third class by the SGO. So once a fund is designated and those documents are done, you remain fund until there are sufficient reasons for the administration to feel that you can no longer carry out that function. So far, the administration has not found me wanted. That is why I still continue to enjoy the support of the administration. So it's a village in Cameroon. But the way those of us zealous people in my village, at times they behave as if Bangolan is an island. They can hold somebody and kill. During the crisis, those individuals went and killed an old man of close to 90 years, a patriarch in the village. They went, held him in the house, tied him up, slaughtered him. One of the notables, they went and put an iron in fire, put in the anus and killed him. The list of atrocities I cannot count because they believe that Bangolan, they are taking advantage of the Anglophone crisis because it's difficult to bring them to books now. But the arms of the law is very slow, but gradually it will grind, and one day they will be in trouble. So to say I'm not maintained by the administration, in Obala, is it the administration that is here with me holding the meeting? It's the population, Bangolan people. All these people you are seeing are Bangolan people. They have not come to fight me. They have come to accompany me, build Bangolan.
So, Your Majesty, the purpose of the meeting of Obala was reconciliation, forgiveness, and to be able to move the community forward. All your subjects were not able to be part of this meeting. I could not be a part of that meeting. I want you to look at this camera right in front of you and talk to your subjects. Talk to all the Bangolan people, even those that you say are against you. Send a word to them.
Permit me to address them in the dialect. Ngbang le mu tset. Mayan tse etewe. Pwaraba ningke ti fembang. Don twedne e paha nyu ira ngong ya. Ngong ye tet paha ka chu hane paha. benende ngoyam bunende pi fa kangi pa ande fa kalane ta fa kalande an kuna ndome phungong ba ngu umbi ye chengo nke kangwe vo pa we ba shui ke pa phuna banjie pa phuna banjie pa no ho kupe ngo kalunzo mu mi tembi sarisat ngo zo mu mi tembi juju mente eleni pueng bang le mu set ndemnu ngamba ne pa mon so yan ba mene bon sofoba nyi kan tike pie wan the form man bi mbiti ben keba benende pue katan konga mtswa fo nyi pie ba pue katam juye nyi pie ba ne ngo mbi kan so bia na ne ngo onyi fe yi pa wo fe ne pa reconcile pa pue ngonde hena forgive ndehena fundo mumi pue shu hanzo we se ndehena fundo ma ngi lendemnu unte endemnu ngi ndehena yu fundo uzi emndehena yimumu fundo pa reconcile ngondehena fundo mumi chiche loye katsene pa metenji pa ndina bate shu benendemnu ngong bang ye pa ngin ke ngong bang te pa ga chu han pa ne ba pue ve ra ngong ngo ka no ngwe wen so ba mu pu tu ngo ka ngwen so so ngai ngong ka ngu akaba ba pa ne pa mun ka zo zu ni ne plan zo ko tie ne nzo ka mba ko tie pa ne pa akam ba bang ke yin bang den bang ye pa se na ne lo po len do bang den bang pa nzo fu me ko tie me se tie amba lo ye pop ne plan ne ye pop na bla lo ne nke ka CHAFAH no 1982 ne ye wa pa ka wa pi wat ba ye wan biem ze no hongong ba ba so me ande pwende hena fundo me de hena fundo li pwe pa pa te kun gong ba pwe ka tonto ba pa ho kun to fi. So Mr. Babla, I know it's in the dialect but you have not understood, but what I'm trying to summarize is that
I wish I could hear what you were saying.
What I'm saying is that I'm telling my people that for close to 10 years now, people have been fighting for nothing. There is no battle that hasn't got an end. We have First World War. Did it not end? We had Second World War. Did it not end? And now the whole world is in peace. It's because of spirit of forgiveness. I am pleading to my people to cultivate that spirit of forgiveness. Show love for each other. No Bangolan man is more Bangolan than another Bangolan man. We inherited that village from our ancestors. I am convinced that where they are seated today, they are yearning, they are crying, they are angry, they are bitter, because what we have done does not honor the village. Let's turn over a new page. Let's forgive each other. I have told you, I am not God. I'm a human being. I may have my own weaknesses. But whatever I might have done, that did not please any of you. Please forgive me. Forgive me. And I'm begging you to forgive me, so that we leave our ego aside and move in one direction for the future of Bangolan. Bangolan first. We shall all go, but Bangolan will remain. Bangolan comes first.
Your Majesty, what are the traditional leaders of the traditional rulers, the traditional leaders, the traditional authorities in not only the Northwest, but the Southwest regions also? What are you people doing to bring a solution to this conflict that has caused a lot of destruction? In some cases irreversible, with several people who have been killed, palaces like yours burnt down, houses destroyed,
lives
people maimed.
Yes. Well, as you have rightly said, any traditional ruler who likes war is not worthy of that name. Traditional rulers should symbolize peace. They should symbolize love. In fact, in the old days, even if somebody were to be killed, the population are chasing him, and he successfully runs to a palace. He was to be protected. He was to be sheltered. But what is happening in our two regions is unthinkable. It's a sacrilege. It's horrible. As you have rightly said, we have lost palaces. Even some traditional rulers have been killed. I have a list of traditional rulers that have been killed, murdered during this crisis. We have our sons and daughters in their numbers that have died. What are we fighting for? Is there need for this fight? It's not necessary. It's not necessary, because at the end of the day, we are the losers. When this crisis started, I thought it was something Anglophones against the regime in Yaoundé. But today, you have people being kidnapped and killed, not by the people they were fighting, by the same brothers and sisters of theirs. Is that really the society we want to live in? I say no. Let people, my advice to our sons and daughters who are in the bushes is very simple. This journey is a very long one, and I am not sure. See that. Let us drop our arms, come out of the bushes, and then work with the authorities to restore peace and order. Because even we traditional rulers, we are not safe. In Gogitonde, I don't think there is a single Fon that is permanently in his palace. They come and go. That is not how it should be. They are not there not because they are afraid of the military. They are afraid of their own children. Because those Fons that took the risk and were taken by their own children. The Fon of Bangolan, who is now the president of the House of Chiefs, spent 18 months in captivity. Was he captured by the military? No. He was taken away by Bangolan people. Is that what should be done? Should Bangolan people keep their Fon in captivity for 18 months? It's madness. I don't think it's something that we should condone.
Your Majesty, some of the atrocities are also committed by the military to indiscriminate shooting and things like that.
Condemn any atrocities from both sides. You can have some overzealous military people too. That one is possible. I condemn some of them who are overzealous. But in all and all, their mission is to maintain peace and order in the region. And there are times too they are faced with situations where they have to fight back. They have to fight back. Because if they don't fight back, their own lives too will be taken. But going around and committing certain atrocities, I trust my defense forces, because many recalcitrant military people have been sanctioned, but they will not publish it. I know. Some have even been revoked because of certain conducts. They have found them wanting on the field. There are a long list of that. So they will not expose everything that this military man who has been revoked, he has been suspended. It happens almost on a daily basis.
Right, Your Majesty, if you were to, as a senator, as a traditional authority, give an advice to the President of the Republic about the situation, what would be that advice? He has done quite a lot of things for the past years to solve the crisis, the major national dialogue and all the rest, the spatial status and so on. But the situation is still persisting. If you were to tell him to do something more, what would be that?
To be sincere with you, Mr. Babila, you know the President has never closed the doors for dialogue. The doors are open. If I have to say anything, I will simply say, Mr. President, don't be discouraged. You have opened up, but the results are not fast coming. Don't be discouraged. Go ahead. And do more. You know, at times you may have a recalcitrant wife, and you do everything, that woman will not see your value. You just sit one day, say, okay, let me surprise her. You go and buy a beautiful attire, that she did not have. You come and give her. You see her attitude from that day will change completely. You will not recognize her. So I'm using this to say...
Are you advising the President of the Republic to surprise the people by
to surprise the Anglophones?
Maybe going to Bamenda? Why not to Bangolan?
Why can't he even launch his campaign in Bamenda? That's what we want. He had been in Bamenda and said, Bamenda is my second home. When a place is your second home, it means that you should be seen in that place as often as possible. So I am begging the President of the Republic to even launch his campaign in Bamenda to reassure the people that he is still with them.
We'll take some interviews now. I'll be right back in a moment.
We will follow minute by minute what is happening in the audiovisual sector, and that will enable us make judgments. Thirdly, we are providing bilingual manuals that will help the journalists with the do's and don'ts during this electoral period. And so we expect that it will be able to help the press to be able to do just what they are supposed to do, inform Cameroonians so that they can make informed choices when the moment comes on the 12th of October.
Let President Biya come and tell us why he thinks he can run after all these decades in power, and what he will do differently that he's not been able to do. He's not been able to build good roads in Yaoundé in 40 years plus. He's not been able to provide basic services in the nation's capital, not even to talk of the rest of the country.
You welcome back. Those were interviews of the week. Your Majesty, you and other traditional leaders were recently at the presidency of the Republic. And many Cameroonians, including some of your subjects, were not happy about the fact that you went to the presidency of the Republic and declared support for President Paul Biya. Going to the presidency of the Republic is definitely the House of the People. It's the presidency of the Republic. But many have a problem with the declaration of support to the President of the Republic after 4 decades of leadership at the age of 93.
Well, Babla, as I told you, one, the traditional rulers are auxiliaries of the administration. That's a part. But let me tell you one thing. I'll talk like Fon CHAFAH because I'm not in the minds of traditional rulers. Fon CHAFAH is a Fon, a magistrate, and a senator. To be in the Senate, you must belong to a political party. And of course, the party that appointed me into the Senate is CPDM. So, some of my actions are in line with my political attachment. I know people say traditional rulers shouldn't do politics. It's a matter of choice.
Outright politics, making it public.
But
I think they should be discreet.
It's a matter of choice. It's a matter of choice. There are certain countries, like in Nigeria, where you hardly see prominent traditional rulers do politics. But there is a special status for them in Nigeria. There are certain incentives for them in Nigeria that does not warrant a traditional ruler to want to delve into politics. Politicians consult them all the time. But in Cameroon, it's not the same. So I have taken and accepted the choice of doing politics. I'm a senator. I should not shy away from that. When we went to the presidency, not all Northwest Fonds went. It was a matter of choice. There are some funds with their names were on the list, but they did not come. So those who came assumed their responsibility, and I was one of those who went. In 1983, when President Paul Biya just took over the helm of the nation, the first region he visited was Northwest region. It was Northwest province at the time. And the prominent traditional rulers of the Northwest, when I say prominent, the big five, the first class firms, and a few of us, crowned the president Fon of Funds, gave him all the attributes that go with Fon of Funds. So now, you met him Fon of Funds, and he's soliciting another mandate to rule the nation. We found it incumbent on us to give him that support, because we traditional rulers believe that leadership authority comes from God. Romans 13 says it, that authority comes from God. You understand? Psalms 75 equally says elevation doesn't come from the east, west, or south. It comes from God Almighty. When God lifts up one person, he brings down another. If Plea is still there today, it's because God has not yet finished with him. It's not us traditional ruler to go and push God to remove Plea from power. He is there because God wills it. But I can guarantee you, when God will be done with anybody, he knows how to remove him. Tomorrow, whoever will be president of Cameroon, traditional rulers will go and pay allegiance to him. Whoever. Babila, I'm sorry, I looked at the list of candidates, I didn't see your name. But if coincidentally your name were there and you won the elections and became president of Cameroon, I can guarantee you the next day all the funds in Cameroon will be at the presidency to hail you. That is how we function.
To hail the president of the republic, and not the president of any political party.
Not the person, the president of the republic.
Right, and you were appointed by the president of the republic.
Fon
not
CHAFAH,
the president of the CPDM.
I was appointed as senator by the president of the republic, and that appointment aligned me with a political party, CPDM, and I assumed it. I'm not afraid to say I'm CPDM. I am. Of course, there are consequences.
But Your Majesty, does that not kind of confirm what some critics have been saying, that the policies in Cameroon have been politicized, have turned into political arenas, sometimes dividing the people,
our people,
and creating some conflicts between the leaders and their subjects?
Well, society is like that. Society is like that. Even in communities where the traditional rulers don't do politics, you still have conflicts there. So human beings are political animals, or every human being. If they tell you that there's a human being who is not a political being, it's a lie. Because in every day of your life, as a leader, you will always take decisions. Those decisions will not favor everybody. Some will be angry, some will be happy. That is leadership. There is never a day that a leader will be heard by everybody. A leader will be acclaimed by the whole community. But on this issue of politics, it's for the state to see how to separate traditional rulers from politics. But if status quo remains, I don't think in the near future you remove traditional rulers from politics. The National Assembly, the Speaker is headed by a traditional ruler. Kawayege Jibril, Honorable Kawayege Jibril is a traditional ruler. The Senate of Cameroon, the Senior Vice President of the Senate, is a traditional ruler. Other Vice Presidents, like Senator David Tando, my power and colleague, is a traditional ruler. Your Fon, the Fon of Bali, was in the Senate. He's a traditional ruler.
Senator Osi Joshua, a traditional leader. The Prime Minister,
Joshua Osi, is a traditional ruler.
The Minister
Prime Minister of
Higher
Cameroon
Education
is a traditional ruler. The Minister of Higher Education is a traditional ruler. The Minister of Sports is a traditional ruler. If I start counting, you realize that Cameroon is ruled by traditional rulers. So how can you want me to say we should abandon the country, we should not do politics? Difficult.
Your Majesty, I want us to wrap up with a message to Cameroonians with regards to the October 12, 2025 presidential election. There is tension in the air.
There shouldn't be tension.
And there are fears of political unrest before, during, or after the presidential election due to what some have qualified as pre-electoral fraud maneuvers, fraud allegations, the exclusion of some of the candidates, and all of what has been going on around the elections. But there is absolute necessity for peace during, before, and after the presidential election. But something that can only happen, or that should be guaranteed by free, fair, and transparent elections that would be accepted by all. Even though we know that no matter how transparent, no matter how free an election will be, there will always be some people who will not be happy, because there will always be some people who will not win. But then, what will you tell Cameroonians about this absolute necessity for peace to reign in Cameroon before, during, and after the presidential election? I want you to talk to Cameroonians in general, those who are in charge of managing the electoral process, and the nation as a whole.
Well, Mr. Babila, as we prepare for presidential elections in October 12, I have always been an advocate of free, fair, and transparent election. I've always been an advocate of that. The best should win. The most popular should win. Where I usually don't agree is when whatever is done and anybody wins, the loser will always cry foul, at times unsubstantiated. So, Cameroon is our country. We don't have an alternative Cameroon. It will not be in our interest, because of presidential elections, to destroy our heritage, to destroy our nation. I am appealing to all the stakeholders to go into these elections with love, with open mind, ready to accept the verdict. Whatever the verdict will be, there's no need for people going around. After all, in the past, when people went around and burned things, did they burn the houses of foreigners? No, they burned their houses. At times even, some of the political leaders who encourage vandals to go around and burn things, why don't they often take their children and their family to lead the protest and the demonstrations? Most of them have their children and family abroad. Most of them. So they often use vulnerable people who don't have where to go to cause chaos. So my call is for peace.
There is no need for violence.
There's no need for violence. There's no need for violence. Whoever wins, the losers should concede defeat. If we go in for violence, we will be victims ourselves. You burn somebody's property, you burn your own. You kill somebody, they'll kill your own person. Then in the end, we are losers. Let us not allow politicians to manipulate us. Have you ever seen a demonstration, a political demonstration, where the political leader calling for that demonstration places his children in front, his wife in front, his family in front, to show that, to lead by example? Have you ever seen it? No. Most of those big people, their children are not even in Cameroon. They are abroad. Some have even relocated their families. Then they will come and deceive you, vulnerable people. Go on the street, go and fight, go and die. You go and destroy your brother's property. It's not necessary. Cameroon we shall all pass, but Cameroon will remain. That is my final word. Let us stand firm for the territorial integrity, the peace, stability of this nation. War will not bring in anything. We have already had enough war in the northwest, in the extreme north, and in the east region. Let us not add another war. That is my plea. Thank you.
That's it for this edition of the program. Thank you so much for always being with us on Equinoxe Television. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook and on YouTube. Thank you for staying with us. God bless Cameroon. Goodbye.